Since birth, I have had no shadow. My grandfather said that my shadow had been stolen and he wanted to find a shadow for me. So he took me to the chaotic grave on the mountain to find a wife for me. From then on, I have a shadow, and my shadow has become a person. Chapter 1. Shadow. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 2. Ghosts and Gods. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 3. Fire. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Since I had a shadow, no one has bullied me in the past few years. Although my shadow is different from others, I am still grateful to Lin Chiner because many classmates have played with me. My appearance has changed a lot, not as capricious as before. I have gained a masculine temperament and my appearance has also changed. Therefore, many girls want to play with me, but I have found that once a girl wants to play with me, my body uncontrollably refuses. Therefore, the class has given me a nickname. Straight Man. I hate this nickname, and I also hate the uncontrollable desire to refuse. Because of this, Beishuyer doesn't want to approach me anymore. Beishuyer is the only girl who doesn't think I'm a weirdo when I'm nowhere to be seen. She's very kind and innocent. Beishuyer has become more and more beautiful now, and the baby's fat is gradually fading away. Although Baishuyer's appearance is not worth mentioning compared to Lin Chiner is the most beautiful person I have ever seen. She is like a fairy in the sky, completely different from this mortal thing. But to be honest, Beishuyer can still be considered my first love. I think it was Lin Chiner who controlled me to refuse to play with girls. I don't understand why she did this. It has been 5 years since I first met her when I was 10 years old. Now that I am 15, she has never appeared in these 5 years. I also live an ordinary life, but my family has been going smoothly and getting better and better. I plan to go home and question Lin Chiner why she doesn't let me get close to the girl. After returning home from school, I found a big fire in the village, and my home had already been burned down. I held back my tears and ran towards my home. I saw my parents looking at me on the brink of death, saying, "Xiaoyu." I wanted to catch them, but the fire didn't give me time. It quickly spread here, and the fire submerged my parents inside. I cried out in agony, "Dad! Mom!" The last sentence of my parents was, "Go. Xiaoyu." I knelt down in despair in front of the house, unable to do anything. Suddenly, I remembered that there was also Grandpa. At this point, Grandpa should have gone to work on the ground, but he fell and didn't go today. My grandfather injured his leg and couldn't walk. I'm not sure if he was submerged in this big fire long ago, but all I know is that my parents died and my grandfather is my only relative. I ran wildly towards the house again, and saw the big fire gradually pushing towards my grandfather. My grandfather sat expressionless on the bed, waiting for death to arrive. After seeing me, he seemed to have known I would come long ago, throwing me a note and shouting, "Xiaoyu. Hurry up. Go find your big brother. The note contains the address and your big brother's phone number." I caught the note and saw the big fire spreading behind my grandfather. I wanted to rush towards the fire, but an invisible force grabbed my clothes from behind and prevented me from leaving. I yelled, "Grandpa!" But my grandfather said, "Xiaoyu, Hachiner should live well. Do you hear me? I want to be a man with ambition." I suddenly remembered when my grandfather was about to marry me when I was a child, and I resisted. My grandfather also said, "I have a bit of masculine spirit." Tears silently flowed down my face, and I knew it was Lin Chiner who held on to me. When I was lost, I saw Baishuyer running towards me. Baishuyer also lived in this village, and it seemed that Baishuyer's parents were also engulfed by the fire. They cried and shouted, "Brother, you!" I stood up. Baishuyer can be considered half of my family. I want to be a man and not show my negative emotions. I grabbed Bai Shui'er's hand, but Lin Qing'er didn't stop me this time. I ran to the mountain with Bai Shui'er, but I found that there were some differences on the mountain. Chapter 4. Little Ghost. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 5. Compass. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 6. Red Clothes. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Along the way, we encountered many ghosts, but most of them were solitary and wild spirits, all of which were swallowed by pity. I just realized that Lianyu seems to have a special ability to enhance his own strength by devouring his own kind. Previously, Lin Qing'er said that Lianyu was a top-level fierce ghost, and I want Lianyu to improve his strength above the fierce ghost, which can greatly enhance his strength. Coupled with Bai Shui'er's compass, we are now close to invincibility, and in the past, Lianyu could control people not to move, which is also a good skill. I silently thought in my heart that the known skills of metaphor include control and swallowing. Lin Qing'er also said that she will pass it on to the ghost road of Lianyu. I looked at Lianyu and asked, Lianyu, you are now a top-level fierce ghost. So what level is above a fierce ghost? Lianyu shook his head and said, Master, I don't know about this either. As far as I know, besides the ghost god lord, the most powerful ghost on the mountain is me. I nodded, and now Lin Qing'er is my biggest trump card. I turned my head to look at Bai Shui'er next to me and said, Shui'er, when I find my big brother, you should be safe. Where do you plan to go then? Will you continue to follow me or go to school? Bai Shui'er thought seriously and said, Brother you, my parents only said it would be safe to follow you, so I'll follow you. I looked at her in question and said, why not go to school? I don't know what kind of danger I will face in the future, after all, those people are so powerful. As I spoke of those people, I burst into a look of hatred. Those people are too powerful, maybe even Lin Qing'er can't solve them. Bai Shui'er chuckled and said, Brother you, if it weren't for you, I might have been killed by the little ghost a long time ago, right? When I was in the toughest times, having someone around me was actually quite good. After the conversation, we continued our journey. After swallowing countless ghosts, Lianyu called out to me, Master, I can feel it. I almost broke through, and I feel that there is a fierce ghost ahead like me, but it is a medium fierce ghost. If I swallow it, I can break through to the level of a fierce ghost. After listening to Lianyu's words, I was extremely excited, which proves that my journey of revenge is one step closer. I grinned excitedly, wishing to grin like Lianyu. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Bai Shui'er was also very excited. It was the first time she had seen a Li ghost. With Taoist bloodline in her body, she could see ghosts, and she had never heard of anything above the Li ghost. She only knew that there were remnants, evil ghosts, fierce ghosts, and Li ghosts, which were already rare. Master, although you are a medium-level ghost, be careful because some ghosts have special abilities and may be far more powerful than me, said Lianyu with caution. We walked cautiously towards the front, and Bai Shui'er and I saw a man with an extremely ugly appearance, a face covered in insects, and bloodshot eyes. Bai Shui'er was startled and saw such an ugly and impressive ghost for the first time. I turned my head and asked Lianyu, is this that medium fierce ghost? Lianyu's face showed an awkward expression, it seems. Is it? The ugly ghost smiled foolishly and looked at Bai Shui'er, hee, little sister. I didn't expect this to be a pervert. Before the ugly ghost could approach Bai Shui'er, Lianyu opened his big mouth and nibbled on the ugly ghost's head. I looked at Lianyu with heartache and thought to myself, can you eat such an ugly ghost? Fortunately, I'm not a ghost. After devouring the ugly ghost, a powerful force enveloped Lianyu, and a voice came in her ear. She should be experiencing a breakthrough for the first time, it will take a few minutes, and she can break through directly in the future. Lin Qing'er answered. But I have grasped an important point, is it my first time experiencing a breakthrough? So it means that Lianyu transformed into a fierce ghost after death. How big should this obsession be? Directly transform into a fierce ghost. Bai Shui'er and I waited in place for a few minutes, and the power on Lianyu's body gradually disappeared. There were no cracks on the corners of his mouth, but Lianyu's original clothes were light red, and now they are almost soaked in red, looking like blood. Lianyu opened her eyes, but they didn't turn as red as before. Excitedly, Lianyu looked at me and said, "Master, I'm dressed in red now." Bai Shui'er saw Lianyu and exclaimed in amazement, "Wow, Lianyu, you don't look as scary as before. At least you're not as penetrating. Lianyu now looks exactly like an ordinary girl. I also think Lianyu now looks very cute." Chapter 7. Helplessness. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 8. Sisters. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text. Chapter 9. Big Brother. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Bai Huer planned to take us to find my older brother, so we left with her. Bai Huer said that we couldn't take a taxi to Chen Yan's place because it was a very remote and evil place, and drivers avoided it. I'm a bit confused. The name looks like a very ordinary community. Why does Bai Huer say that? Bai Huer seemed to see my confusion and said mysteriously, "You'll know when you arrive." Bai Huer seems to be taking a shortcut, and we will arrive soon. If we follow the usual speed of me and Bai Shui'er, it will take a long time to arrive. After arriving at Suyuan community, the community was still very ordinary, and I don't understand even more. Why would Bai Huer say that drivers are avoiding this place? And all the doubts were resolved after the few of us entered. As we entered the Suyuan community, a gust of wind blew in front of us. Bai Shui'er and I quickly blocked our faces, as the wind was too strong. But Bai Huer seems to have been accustomed to this kind of scene for a long time, waiting for the Yin wind to blow before continuing to lead us forward. I looked carefully and found that there was no fourth building. The most common one was the third building. I looked to the side and asked Bai Huer, "Isn't my big brother living in the fourth building?" "Why not?" Bai Huer said, "Actually, there's no fourth building at all." As she spoke, she looked at me with a gloomy gaze. I trembled with fear and continued, "The fourth building is a mysterious place where there are only ghosts or strange people, no ordinary people." What does it mean to have no ordinary people? Is my big brother a ghost? Or is it a strange person? Bai Huer saw my confusion and said, "Your elder brother is the owner of that place." Bai Huer talked for a while, but I didn't understand. What does it mean that my elder brother is the owner there? Why isn't there a fourth building? Bai Huer looked at me like a fool and said, "Forget it, I'll give your older brother a call and ask him to pick us up." When I heard that Bai Huer wanted my older brother to pick us up, I couldn't help but think to myself, what kind of person is my older brother? Why do drivers avoid this place, but he is the owner of this place? In no time, a man came down, wearing a mask and a duckbill cap, seeming very cautious. The man saw Bai Huer and waved, taking off his mask and hat. As soon as he spoke, he heard a carefree voice on the phone. "Huer, who are these two people next to me? If they come, I won't tell them. I need to treat them well." I looked up at the man. He was very tall, probably 1.9 meters tall, one head higher than me, and I was only 1.75 meters tall. The man looked at me with his eyes and I said, "Are you my big brother? Grandpa asked me to come find you." The man seemed to remember something and suddenly laughed, "So it's my younger brother. Who is this little beauty next to me? Why does she look the same as Huer?" Bai Huer blocked Bai Shui'er and glared fiercely at Chen Yan, "This is my sister. Don't have any bad thoughts about her, otherwise I won't spare you." Chen Yan put away his carefree tone and became serious. Go upstairs to chat. Then Chen Yen led us forward and arrived at a wall. Suddenly, Chen Yen cut his finger with a knife, and blood dripped onto the wall. A large gate suddenly appeared on the wall, and inside the gate was a building. Chen Yen pulled us and walked quickly. Hurry up, don't be seen later. Isn't Bai Hua saying that Chen Yen is the owner of this place? Why is Chen Yen so vigilant? Chen Yen quickly led us to the building, where the fourth building was written in blood. I found that there are many ghosts in this fourth building, all floating in the air. There are many evil spirits, and there are also several fierce ghosts, but most of them are evil spirits. Lianyu excitedly thought of swallowing these ghosts in the shadow, but I whispered, Lianyu, not now. When you come back, I'll let you eat enough. After listening to me finish speaking, Lianyu suddenly calmed down, but still looked excitedly at these ghosts. Her head came out of the shadow a bit, but since we were walking ahead, no one noticed Lianyu, so I didn't bother to extend her head. The ghosts, seeing the excited gaze of Lianyu towards them, all avoided us in fear. Chen Yen and Bai Hua also realized something was wrong. Just as they wanted to look back, Bai Shu'er noticed it and quickly gestured to Lianyu, who quickly crawled back into the shadow. I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. My big brother is very scary. If he is found out, he may do something to Lianyu or take him away and do something beneficial to himself. So when I don't know what Chen Yan's identity is, whether he is a good person or a bad person, I still try not to let him discover the existence of pity. Chapter 10. Organization. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.